Hello, I'm Metallic Joe, and the holidays are over.
Krampus has come and he has taken all your cookies. He left presents at your door.
And he ate all your children.
And he left a giant turd on your doorstep.
Probably.
That was your present.
That wasn't reindeer poop, that was the Krampus. Anyway, enough about mythical creatures. The holiday season is finally over. We're back to normal, although we're still dealing with Christmas commercials on the friggin' TV and radio.
Yeah, I think they won't be gone till maybe after the new year.
Yeah, I hope they're gone soon. Anyway, I'm Metallic Joe.
I am Nikki.
I'm Ray. The Ray.
The only Ray.
The
that
only
you
Ray.
need.
The only Ray that's here, anyway.
The only Ray you need.
It's the only ray of sunshine.
Don't steal his sunshine.
Ding.
Okay. Anyway, we are completely over the holidays, over it all. Done. Don't want to mention that till next year. And even then, I really don't want to mention it.
I'm ready for summer.
Yeah, I'm ready for summer. This cold, biting cold in the northern part of the earth. The northeastern part of the earth is...
Yeah, pretty much.
Done. Done with it already. Anyway, this episode is going to be all about game streaming.
Well, now that I am on winter break, I don't have to do any more studying. I don't have any finals, tests, exams, quizzes, any of that crap to deal with. So now that I have plenty of time to play video games, so time to focus more on one of my favorite hobbies.
Streaming. Yeah, we don't mean to turn this episode into a cheap plug for our Twitch account, but we're going to plug our Twitch account for most of this episode.
Yeah, just because we enjoy streaming. We enjoy, showing you how we play different games. If you have any questions, concerns, want to know how to complete a stage.
I feel embarrassed because we did a few streams already, and I did promise, these are games I've beaten before. Sonic Spinball, I've gotten to the last level. I've never beaten it. But, I was like, okay, we're going to stream it and try to beat it. And, of course, I wound up dying on the second level because I was a little bit out of practice. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Not all our streams are perfect.
Nah, no. Also, attempted Decap Attack and wound up dying on, the fifth level. That was one of our Halloween streams.
And you've all seen how many times I've died in Super Mario World.
Yeah, and kicked Yoshi off a cliff.
We still have yet to
savage.
still have yet to see all your deaths in Pilot Wings.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that soon.
Hey, I can tell you one thing, though. There was one night where I had drank a pretty good amount of alcohol and decided to pick up my controller and play Pilot Wings, and I actually got a perfect score on the red. The red was the airplane.
But unfortunately, you were not streaming.
I was not streaming, and I was at my house. I was not here.
So, yeah, no points for Nikki.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I will not be able to recreate that.
Unless you get a whole...
Yeah. I'm actually pretty good at the rocket belt. I can do that pretty well. But that's about it.
We're going to get a whole bunch of alcohol into you, and then turn the cameras on and see how you do.
You put that much alcohol into me, the only thing you're going to see is me on the floor. And you stream me on the floor, I'm suing all your asses. I'm taking all your asses to court.
No, we'll just put the camera on the ceiling. We'll put the monitor down, hanging off my table there, so you can still play it while you're on the floor.
That might actually be alright.
There you go. Anyway,
I'm still playing Barbie Supermodel, just to let you know.
Oh yeah, we definitely have to do that.
I'm going to stream the shit out of that.
Ray was discussing Bubsy.
Yeah. We might play that someday. Kind of a frustrating little game. Not as... Compared to Bubsy 3D, anyway, it's not as dreadful as everyone says it is. But it's still kind of annoying.
I don't remember Bubsy being popular in the least bit.
No. Bubsy 3D was mentioned by Angry Video Game Nerd. It was hilarious.
I think I did play Bubsy. I think it was the second one. Because I remember I had injured myself in... second grade, I think it was, and I couldn't go out and play. I really, really fucked my leg up.
Boo.
I was rollerblading. My front wheel hit a nice little hole in the road, and one leg went one direction, the other leg went the other direction.
Owie.
Yeah. It's basically, if you've watched hockey, I did a goalie split.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you could hear my screams from maybe, like, 4 blocks away. It hurt so bad. I needed help to put my legs back together. And my legs were so severely fucked up from that, I couldn't go out and play for a while, so I was stuck playing video games. My friends would come visit me, we'd play games, and Bubsy was one of the games. And I remember, in my frustration of me not being able to go outside and play anymore, I beat that game.
I remember my brother-in-law broke his ankle and laid out on the couch, played Super Mario 2 for days on end.
Yep.
Yeah, some of those injuries like stick around with you.
They really do, and sometimes they just get worse. But since I've taken my Taekwondo class, my leg injuries have gotten a lot better. So,
yeah.
You know.
Anyway, yeah, we were going to stream Bubsy and
Eventually.
Bubsy 2 eventually.
I mean, I couldn't remember anything about this game, but...
The only thing to remember was, Angry Video Game Nerd covered the dreadful 3rd edition. The other two were, like, pretty nondescript platform games, but, any excuse to play a good platformer, or a mediocre platformer. What the hell?
Yeah, why not?
Always
we're
fun.
still available to play Battletoads and Double Dragon.
Oh, yeah, or Battletoads Double Dragon, the game. Mm-hmm. Where they did the crossover.
Yeah, that was very fun.
That was a cool game.
Was that ever in an arcade? That was an arcade machine.
No, it was never for arcade. That wound up straight to the home systems.
No, which one? I believe it was Battletoads itself was
No, Battletoads never wound up in the arcade, I don't think.
There was an arcade game in, 1994. It was the final installment in the series.
I remember playing it at Chuck E. Cheese on one of my birthdays.
It was like a complete standalone game. It had all the familiar characters, but I think it was more beat 'em up centric, and it had blood for some reason.
Yeah.
Not like surreptitious Doom level gore or anything. It was more like Street Fighter 2 level blood.
Like a couple splatters here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised I've never even actually seen this machine, let alone played it.
Yeah, it was out in the suburbs, Chuck E. Cheese, and which I actually went to yesterday, and I am not gonna lie, Chuck E. Cheese is probably the most depressing place on earth. I went in there and I said, what the hell?
I believe if you have an Xbox One and you have Rare Replay, you can play it on there.
I do have Xbox One. I do not have Rare Replay. I actually don't even really have any interest in turning my Xbox One on. My PS3 is hooked up,
Just make sure... We're lucky we're not at your place when you said that, or would have turned on, the Xbox turn on thing. You say that and then just...
Oh, I actually don't have a Kinect. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the system was free. What was I going to do? Buy a $150 Kinect?
That'd be a pain in the ass, because, you're talking to a friend. Yeah, whenever I say Xbox One turn on, it turns on.
I've seen a couple streams where, people said, random words, and out of nowhere their Xbox just turned on.
Yeah, that's really creepy.
Yeah, technology does not need to be that personal with me.
And I always throw shirts, or I hide my phone under the blankets if I need privacy, because you never know if you're gonna randomly take a picture. Oh yeah, you can just say one word, and next thing you know, they're taking pictures of you and putting it online. And with how advanced technology is now, I can't imagine what it's going to be like.
Yeah, 10 years at least. Even 10 years down the line, it's going to be even
Yeah,
crazier.
I think we're starting to hit a stagnant right now, I think, as far as technology goes, but I think we might see another boom pretty soon.
So you're saying it might regress for a bit?
I think so.
Don't get us wrong. We're doing a retro podcast, but... Technology has allowed us to do said podcast, and technology eventually is going to allow us to actually play some of these games with people, connected to people around the world. And, it's basically just like the internet was. There was a concept for information exchange. And it has turned the retro scene, basically it breathed some new life into some of these old video games, because people decided to stream them, and, you look at them and go, wow, how do you do that? I never knew that, and I had this game for 15 to 20 years.
I played this game as a kid, what?
I've seen shit in Super Metroid, it's how did you do that? And I've played through that game hundreds of times.
it's always nice to see, you know, how, like, you know, we say, oh, we're gonna plug our stream or whatever, but there's so many streamers on Twitch, and it's always so nice and refreshing just to watch these people play the games you grew up with.
We're not actually attempting to replace, you know, be a popular Twitch destination. We're just, you know, Twitch is always, I guess, just as important as the podcast, but, you know, it's always podcast first and then, you know, Twitch second. Twitch is actually suggested by Ray, because I had no experience with it. He did. And basically, yeah, it was my initial concept, and it was a rather dumb one to play video games and just comment on it as they're playing. Like, you know, just like you hear the noises in the background, and basically we roast who's ever playing when, you know, they die somewhere, and describe it, whatever. We did it with Oregon Trail the very first
yeah,
podcast.
that was fun.
Wisely did it with that little recording we made, which you said wasn't going to be on a podcast.
Wasn't I the first one to die?
Yeah, you were the one that drowned.
I drowned. I mean, I am, like, just barely 5 foot, so...
yeah. The wagon went over and you drowned. Mm-hmm. And of course my cat wound up having cholera.
Oh,
but
no.
He made it eventually. But yeah, no, I figured, like, I was editing it down. I'm sorry, you know, we're going so behind the scenes here. I was editing the first podcast down, like, because we did 2 takes of it, and, you know, it's just like, all right, I have a 20-something minute. It's like, at the time, I didn't know how long we had to make these things. It's like, you know, there's no rules these days, but, you know, somewhere like plus a half hour, because if you're waiting a week, and sometimes 2 or 3, then you want to hear us talk for at least a half hour, I hope.
Yeah, I hope you haven't gotten sick of us yet.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just like we had that recording for Oregon Trail. It's like, you know, it was a good recording. I listened to it before I tacked it onto the podcast. You know, and I thought, hey, this is pretty decent. We had some fun doing this, and wound up, you know, so it wound up on a podcast. I edited out just a few things, like some typing noises and stuff.
And I died.
Yeah, no, we didn't edit that part out.
No.
You died.
I died.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, Twitch turned out to be a whole lot better because, you know, it's like, hey, we could just plug our Twitch on the podcast. They could actually go to twitch.tv/240p Club, do that now, and check us out, streaming, which, you know, we've done a whole lot over the course of about 6 months. We've had this going.
Yeah, about 6 months,
Yeah, roughly it's like 6 months of podcasts and Twitch recordings, and we stream quite a bit, but, you know, there's so much more to stream. Like, you know, we actually didn't even divulge into PC gaming yet.
Yeah.
I would love to figure out how to do Warcraft 2.
I'd like to figure out, honestly, how to Twitch through my PlayStation 3, because there's a lot of games. I mean, it's not exactly retro. This would be more of, like, a personal level. But, you know, I think you have to buy, like, extra for it.
I mean, it's like some of the retro games were actually released. And actually, it wouldn't be a bad thing to stream, like, Mega Man 9 and 10, because they made those in, like, the 8-bit style. So that wouldn't be a bad thing, you know, try to figure it out on the PS3. Mm-hmm. Right, you know, I know you're, like, set on Bubsy, but I know you're chomping at the bit to do an Earthbound stream.
Absolutely.
Which one would you play? Would you do the whole series, or would you do just Earthbound?
We would stick with Earthbound. It was the first game released in the U.S. and the one most people are familiar with.
I'm sure people are familiar with, you know, was it Mother Beginnings or Earthbound Beginnings? Well,
Earthbound Beginnings, it was like a translation which was fully completed, and then Nintendo scrapped the game, leaked onto the internet in like 97 or 98, and that was like the second game we got. And then there was Mother 3, released for the Game Boy Advance in 2006 and fan-translated in 2008. So we might be playing them in that order, or we might just be skipping Beginnings because it's really hard and unbalanced.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll do Earthbound sometime then. Like, we actually, the one thing we never really tackled was an RPG, even though we had a whole podcast dedicated to them, Podcast 6.
666?
Yeah. We never streamed one. You know, it's hard streaming them because you cannot finish one in one day. So you basically have to do a series, you know, and none of us have time, really. Unless we do it like, I'll stream a day and I'll send someone the save file and they can stream it, and you guys want to do that.
I would love to. Like, I started streaming on my personal Twitch, not through 240p Club, but through my personal Twitch. I was doing a little bit of Sailor Moon Another Story just to test how it works.
I mean, I could stream it, but I want to see your guys' impression of it, because I played it to death already. And
I actually never got far in Earthbound, so
I've never played it, but I'm sure I could sit down and learn it. I'm pretty slow when it comes to RPGs, because I try to be methodical to pick up I try to get everything on first glance, because I don't want to miss an item, as I've had this happen before. I don't want to miss an item and then get stuck at a certain part because I completely overlooked something earlier in the game that I can't get back.
That's what happened with me in Kingdom Hearts, where I forgot to get the ice spell for what's the guy's name? Sora, I think. Yeah, Sora. I forgot to get the ice spell for him, and now I actually cannot beat the Taskmaster.
Wait till you try to get the best equipment in the game. 1 in 128 chance of dropping off certain monsters. I'm not going to tell you which ones.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was stuck in Alice in Wonderland land, and I had to go back to 101 Dalmatians land, and I actually couldn't figure out how to get back, because you actually can't leave Alice in Wonderland area until you beat Taskmaster.
Oh.
You cannot beat Taskmaster without the ice spell. You cannot get the ice spell in Alice in Wonderland. So
it was basically you were a game breaker.
Basically, I had to start over.
Yeah. My very, very first playthrough in Final Fantasy VII, I didn't wind up beating it because I think I sold the Ragnarok sword, the one of the 2 triple growth weapons in the game. No, I'm sorry, I beat it. I was at that point trying to beat Emerald and Ruby weapons. So I was trying to build up my experience and items and everything. Wound up selling that sword, so none of my techniques would grow, at any good rate of speed. So I was I was just screwed at that point. So I had to start over again, and I didn't realize that the ultimate weapons have no materia growth. So I was basically just building up experience for nothing. My materia was not growing because I was using the ultimate weapons. So, that's a game breaker. Had to start over. Fortunately, I am more well versed in Final Fantasy VII, and maybe we'll stream that someday.
Yeah, I'm a little slow at streaming RPGs because, like Joe said, I like to do everything, side quests. I like to pick up all the items, and I grind so much.
I grind a bit too. There's this one spot in Final Fantasy VII, it's in Junon, when you it's one of the hallways, you hit an alarm and it triggers all these enemies that you're not supposed to encounter until much later in the game. Now, they're not hard enemies, it's just they were meant for the second disc, and you're fighting all these guys in the first disc. So your experience just rockets up. And you basically, once you master an all materia and sell it, you wind up getting 1 million gil, and you don't need money anymore, and you definitely don't need experience points by that point because you've grinded so much. Also, limit breaks, everyone's third limit break was basically activated at that point. So, yeah, grinding, and I can imagine people sitting on Twitch watching people trying to grind in an RPG is probably one of the most boring things imaginable.
Yeah, and my attention span honestly only goes so far.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the fact that people are attempting RPGs at all, but if you're sitting there just basically level grinding, which again, you have to do in some of these games.
Do you know what's one thing that also, now I'm gonna, mention something about, a specific RPG game, but one thing that I really was, I think I mentioned this before also, kind of annoyed about in Sailor Moon Another Story, is that you level up. When you level up, all you do is gain power, and you can take damage better. You don't learn any new attacks. You have all the attacks already. Because it takes place in Season 3, the characters have their first season, second season, third season attacks.
Oh.
I'm okay, which basically makes the game a friggin' cakewalk. And I'm I already have all these moves. it would have been a lot cooler to just, like, unlock these moves as I level up.
I think one of the few games we've actually grinded, it's not even an RPG. Like the time me and Ray played through River City Ransom and basically grinded up our powers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was similar, basically. Because, you know, a lot of these old Nintendo games you couldn't really beat unless you grinded a few things, you know, grinded a few levels up.
Don't even get me started on Final Fantasy 1. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think Elfland I spent an hour on just grinding before I even attempted that cave. And then grinded further for,
Earth Cave?
Yeah, the Earth Cave, thank you. I had to grind even further. Which was, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And don't even get me started on Phantasy Star. Basically, you had to grind Alice, or, you know, whatever her name was, 5 to 6 levels before you can even get started on your quest. Yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah, and there's one reason, that's, you know, I guess a pretty good reason why RPGs really don't do well on Twitch. Not to say that they don't do well on Twitch, but...
They do well after a while. Like,
yeah.
Once you get grinded enough, like, you know, you basically play through all these parts of this game, and...
I think one day I'm going to try to do, like, not a speed run, but kind of just a run through Chrono Trigger, like, without grinding. And I'm going to see how far that gets me.
That's
it probably won't get me far.
That's a game you don't have to really grind that much.
Until you get up to Magus.
No, even still, I didn't grind during Magus.
Yeah.
I had enough experience like points at that particular time where Magus was pretty easy. Mm-hmm. It's basically that part where you fight Lavos. You have to grind a bit in order to get some of the best equipment, or you're not going to stand a chance against them.
Oh, you don't stand a chance against them anyway.
Oh no, I mean not in the Ocean Palace.
Well, of course not. No.
No, you were meant to lose that fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I mean if you basically grind it out in the Black Element, like that takes a long time. But by that point, you get a whole lot of elite equipment, and you can actually steal some elite equipment from a lot of those guys too, and some mega elixirs and all that stuff. And that makes Lavos like 10 times easier. You know, you steal Prism Helmet, I think a Prism Dress from Zeal.
Yeah. I know then, like, if you do the side quests and you get I'm not spoiling that with me. Never mind.
Yeah, you can spoil the weapon.
Well, yeah, I think when you get the Rainbow Shell, you can get either the Prison Helm or the...
Yeah, Prison Dresses.
The Prison Dresses.
You get 3 Prison Dresses or 1... 3 Prison Helms or 1 Prism Dress.
Yeah.
And then if you have a Sunstone, they'll make you the Rainbow Sword.
Yeah.
Which is a ridiculously awesome weapon, too.
And, you know, and it's funny because... what's his name? The frog, Glenn, has his weapon, the Masamune. And, they said, oh, the Masamune is the only sword that can beat Magus, blah, blah, blah. But you can upgrade it, though, like, or not even upgrade,
yeah,
get new swords.
That turns it into the ultimate weapon, actually. Like, there's a quest to turn the Masamune into the ultimate weapon. Which
after
is pretty cool.
it's been blessed by Cyrus.
Yeah.
And everything, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind spoiling some things, because we're not spoiling the whole thing.
Right.
But, yeah, no, so stuff like that, like, you know, Chrono Trigger would be fun to stream.
Yeah.
I don't have enough experience with Chrono Cross to stream that, but I know, like, the game goes over 2 discs, and it can be pretty hard.
I have actually never played Chrono Cross. I haven't had a chance to.
Chrono Cross is interesting. The battle system was, like, that came out around the time Xenogears came out. Just like that battle system, like, you could hit, like, 1 hard hit or 3, like, light taps or whatever. I don't know. I didn't play enough with the battle system to really get the hang of it, but you know, we could talk about RPGs. We could also talk about, like, you know, some games that lend pretty well to Twitch as well. Beat 'em ups lend really well to Twitch, especially if, like, you do it multiplayer style, because then you have the camera, you have 2 people, like, grinding it out, and yeah, beat 'em ups do work pretty well.
I mean, I would love to stream Final Fight with you guys.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that someday. Like, Final Fight, I've seen people stream Streets of Rage 1 through 3. Like, then,
I think if we're going to stream Final Fight, we shouldn't do the SNES version because of how downgraded from the arcade that was.
Yeah, well...
But what other versions are there?
I could actually try to figure out the arcade version.
I actually have it on the PS3. I have Final Fight Double Impact.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah, so it's very possible we could try something with that.
If we want to talk game shows and shit, we could always just get really drunk and like play Anticipation.
Yeah, that one was a fun one. But like, it's not so fun if you have all the puzzles memorized.
I haven't played that in years.
Yeah, so I don't have the puzzles memorized either. Or here's one for us. We could just, instead of just Anticipation, we could do a whole host of game shows. Like
I was just gonna say that Jeopardy.
We have Jeopardy. We have Wheel of Fortune.
Hollywood Squares.
Wheel
Trivial
of Fortune
Pursuit.
Deluxe. Even Remote Control from MTV. That was a fun.
You don't know Jack.
Show. It was a fun game show. It lended pretty well to a NES game.
We could even stream not Price is Right. I think we can do.
There was for PS3 it came out. There's
we
Price is Right.
can. We
It's not
could
the
stream.
same.
We could stream friggin' Monopoly if we wanted to.
Yeah, I could boot up Genesis, Monopoly, Clue. That doesn't have to be game shows. Could be board games.
I like the 16-bit versions of Monopoly. I like the NES version better.
The Genesis version was pretty good. I thought. I don't know.
I
That's
just
just me.
remember like
I remember the Super NES version being terrible. From like the
Super
5
NES
minutes I
version.
played on emulator.
Yeah, the Super NES version was kind of weak.
I played the Super NES version of Wheel of Fortune. I just remember like when the wheel hits I think it was bankrupt. When the wheel hits bankrupt, like they show the guy who got it, and I just remember like how furrowed his eyebrows were, like an 8-bit, like so scary. I'm like, yo, that's not a face I want to see.
Yeah.
None of that.
You should see some of the Sega CD version of Jeopardy to have like full motion video.
Okay, that's
oh my
creepy.
God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's
Alex Trebek.
yeah, back when he had the mustache.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's how old that game is.
Wow.
We will play that sometime.
We will definitely play.
Yeah, well, I
we can
think
even do Family Feud for Christ's sake.
they have a Family Feud.
Yeah, they
version.
do.
I think they actually had a Double Dare version, but I don't think I ever played that.
I
don't
don't
think it
know.
ever did
Double Dare
well.
would be kind of hard to play on a.
It's a lot of like button mashing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Double Dare would be better.
Speaking of
like,
button mashing, this one lends well too. Sports games.
Yeah.
Oh man, like we were talking like in the other podcast about doing like a Twitch closer to the Super Bowl, doing some Madden games, etc., etc. Stanley Cup Final Time, we do the Stanley Cup via NHL '94.
Or if Halloween rolls around, we can always play Mutant League.
Yeah, Mutant League Football, Mutant League Hockey. Yeah, for Genesis,
Anybody
great
remember
games.
the Mutant League cartoon?
No,
No.
did not, man.
Well, be glad. It's annoying.
And I know, like, maybe we can kick off the baseball season by playing, like...
Yeah, it kicks off in March
Super
today.
Bases Loaded.
There's a whole lot of baseball games we could play. World Series Baseball is one of the more popular ones. But I am totally down making 2 teams of baseball stars and then just playing them.
I'm in.
We could name them whatever we want. We could be like the 240p Club Bombers or something. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just make some...
Go Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies. Yeah, let's just do some awesome sports related themes. Yeah, especially when we have 2 people playing. We're not just playing against a computer, and an equal skill level too. Because I remember we had a party one time, and like as we were waiting for people to arrive, we hooked up the Nintendo and we were playing ice hockey, and we had one of the most epic ice hockey battles in history. I think it ended 10-9 in overtime. And, basically everyone at the party gathered around to cheer on our friends, like who were just deadlocked in this battle. Like, yeah, come on! And just imagine that on Twitch, a bunch of your friends are watching as you're waging war on the ice, or baseball field, or football, or even soccer, or I know they have rugby games, but
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam.
Boom, shakalaka!
Of course, we'd love to play that, definitely.
I was never able to play basketball in real life. Too
Me
short.
either. Me either. I wasn't that good. I was able to play it briefly for a year because I wound up hitting puberty before any of the other kids, so I was taller than them. But then, they all wound up catching up to me in height, and I sucked bad at basketball.
I was always the shortest person in school, so I actually opted to play hockey instead, and we played. It was like an after-school hockey league, and I decided to assert my dominance by going after the tallest kid. Yeah, It was fun. I believe we were in 4th grade and he had already hit the 5'8", 5'9" mark. And I don't know. I haven't seen this kid in a long time, and I can imagine he's well over the 6 foot mark now. But I went after him to take the puck because nobody else would. And I said, well, you know, it's a team sport. No one's going to defend this guy. Okay, fine. I tackled him. I took the puck. I scored a goal. He retaliated by hitting me, which is, it's what you do. I mean, he knocked me off my feet. You know, I wasn't even 4'7" at that point. Maybe I was barely over 100 pounds, and I was a little anorexic kid. But, you know, now I'm a not so anorexic kid. But, he hit me pretty bad. And he was yelled at by the teachers and everything. And I came to his defense. I said, what are you yelling at him for? It's hockey. It's what you do. You hit people. And I got right back up after that. I was a little scrapped up, but, you know.
Yeah, let's wage our battles on the video screen instead of in real life.
Yeah, because I can actually kick these guys' ass right here, so. I'm quite murderous.
I'm pretty... Oh, boy.
I always go straight for the knees.
Yeah, I have bad knees, so...
So do I. I was only able to play catcher. When I played baseball, I wasn't allowed to play the outfield.
Stuck me in pitcher in softball. I don't know.
They did stick me as pitcher for a little while, then I got hit in the face with a ball, so...
Yeah.
Any accident that could have possibly happened to me as a kid happened.
Oh, man.
Hit in the face with a baseball, hit in the face with a soccer ball, volleyball, hit by a frisbee, broke my leg, my nose doesn't work, yeah.
That's good. I got hard tackled in soccer and broke a wrist. Mm-hmm. Dropped a bowling ball on my toe. That was not a fun Saturday afternoon. And, yeah, accident prone, and I prefer to, if I'm going to get hit by anything, may it be a Nintendo controller these days.
Yeah, well, let's hope no Nintendo controllers go flying, because they're not cheap.
No, they're not.
Especially if you're on a college student budget.
Yeah, no.
But they're very sturdy, as I know.
Yeah, I've...
I don't want to test their sturdiness.
I've tested their sturdiness as a kid, and yeah, believe me, Nintendo controllers don't break pretty easily.
I've actually dropped the PlayStation 2 before, and that thing, while I was playing a game too, and the game had actually worked better since I dropped it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how it happened, but...
Meanwhile, you don't even touch half these new systems, and grand screen of death.
I had a PS3 controller in my hand. I tripped over my own shoes as I was walking around the living room. Controller goes flying, hits a wall, shatters.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've slammed controllers due to Ninja Gaiden for Nintendo, and they've worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's another fun game to stream. You know why? Because the frustration level's through the roof.
Yeah, it's probably we're probably going to call that the not safe for work stream with all the cursing and
Here's a question, actually, moral dilemma. Would you consider save states cheating?
Oh yeah, good question.
Ray?
Yeah.
I use save states for only certain games. If I'm playing Nobunaga's Ambition and I don't do a save state and I get ambushed and I get attacked, forget it.
I've seen, apparently, these are useful for, practicing these games. So you have a hard level. You wind up saving it a couple, right before a hard level. And you just want to practice, get yourself better at some of these games. Then, they're very useful. I would like to have them as a kid. However, we didn't. We had to start from the beginning or write down the long password. But, if you're playing on Twitch and you have to use a save state to beat some of these old games, then you're cheating.
I can also present another argument. there are times when my SNES 9X does crash on me, so I have used save states.
See, that's not cheating. That's like you're basically interrupting your gameplay. That is not cheating. That's just, using the technology you have. I used save states before. I'm using them for I'm playing through Final Fantasy 3 on the NES for the first time. The original, Japanese Final Fantasy 3, but it's translated. And for some reason, the saves do not work whatsoever with this game. You turn the game off, you turn it back on, it doesn't boot up any of the data. So I've been using save states, instead of...
It has a certain type of save file that you have to switch to a certain setting for, I think. I had problems with it once.
Yeah, I find it easier just to use a save state then.
There are certain, translations of games that will crash if you do certain stuff. Like the fan translation on Dragon Quest VI has really buggy menus that can just freeze the game. So
yeah, it's because they're converting Japanese kanji characters to ASCII and all that.
Yeah, kanji's not.
Well, also you're
easy.
also you have to expand the ROM, I believe, to fit all this English dialogue in.
They had certain ways of doing it.
That causes a whole host of problems if you don't do that the right way or something. They've
also used 2 English letters in one character as a way of saving space on some of these. That's how the Final Fantasy IV translation wound up becoming successful.
Spoony Bard.
Yeah.
They did that officially with Breath of Fire too. I've checked the hex data for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how they do that. But yeah, save states in cases like that, or let's just say something happens, you got to run out of your house. Instead of just leaving the emulator on pause, it's nice to just have a save state there, turn off your computer or whatever, do what you got to do, and then you could pick up the game right where you left off. It's just cheating if as soon as you pick up the game, you fall into a pit. Hit the button again, it didn't happen. That's cheating.
Yeah, the only time I'll admit to ever kind of cheating like that would be for Nobunaga's Ambition, because there are times when I had actually forgot to do a save state and I was attacked by a neighboring state and lost my territory, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I was actually playing against my brother when that happened. He took my territory and took my best character too.
Oh.
And I was so bit. Oh no, there was no safe state. I was screwed. I ran down the stairs and told my mom, "Mom, he took him from me." And she said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He took the Tanakatsu from me. I said, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, I never forgave him for that, but I beat him. No, it's all crap. Of course I forgave him for it. It's a stupid game, but I beat him in Monopoly 2 weeks later, so I got my revenge.
There we go.
We're talking the board game. That was a 2-week game.
Oh, I know. I've played many Monopoly games in my lifetime. That's why I kind of liked, the streaming version on Nintendo or Super Nintendo a little better, because, you set limits, and you don't have a banker that's, sitting there, slipping himself $500 bills when you're not looking.
Yeah. Yo, I've seen someone do that. I said to put that back.
Put it back. Put it back.
Put it back. Put it back. The most satisfying thing, honestly, in Monopoly is when you finally have enough money to put one of those little red hotels on
boardwalk.
On the boardwalk and watch your opponent.
I find, and yeah, this is weird. Our retro gaming podcast is going to board game strategy, but what the hell? I'm going to roll with the punches here. I find it more valuable if you wind up with the green properties, which is North Carolina Avenue and
I think it's Pennsylvania
and I forget what the other one is.
I don't remember.
Yeah, those, and if you have the yellow properties like Marvin Gardens and I think Atlantic Avenue, is it?
I think, yeah, Atlantic.
Yeah, you have, and just for boot, you have the railroad and the electric company or the water company. I find that much, much more profitable than I do having Park Place or Boardwalk. Because if you land on Park Place or Boardwalk, that is a hefty chunk of change you're paying with a hotel. However, how often in a course of a Monopoly game do people land on those spaces?
That is true.
Food for thought.
Then also the whole thing about the about either the waterworks or the electric company is they go by a times whatever number, so you gotta roll the dice. You get something times 10, forget it.
Yeah, 12 times 10, that's 120 though. That's still not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things when you have hotels
Right, but
and
it
stuff.
can accumulate and everything.
Yeah, it's something.
It's also...
You can also use it as a bargaining chip.
Well, and then there's also if you somehow manage to acquire all four railroads too.
Yeah, that's 200 every time they land on that. That's 4 possible spaces they can land on. So, you have potential to make a lot of money there. Here's though the utilities in Monopoly. And again, I'm going to relate this to video games because, you could play Monopoly for the NES, SNES, Genesis. They have a Windows 3.1 version. You name it, basically, it was made for the system. It's a timeless classic, etc., etc., etc. The utilities always wind up as a bargaining chip because if you're trying to trade with another player and they're like on the fence, I'll give you it's a pretty fair deal, but they're on the fence about it and you want to sway them, you're like, okay, I'll throw in the electric company with all that. Usually that's a bargaining chip that works on a good amount of people.
Of course, there's a couple variations of rules people do, like with the free parking space, especially that aren't in any console versions, I believe.
Oh no, the PS3 version that I have, you could actually do that. You could put I don't think you could put. At one point, one of the house rules we were playing is all the money you collect through income tax. Any money income tax and the luxury tax wound up in the free parking space. And also, chance cards, you pay, 150, bank error or something, or I forget the cards we have to pay. Not the building ones, but the...
Sounds like video game Monopoly has evolved quite a bit since the 16-bit era.
Yeah, it has. You could actually put in house rules. Although the 16-bit era was nice because you could put a timer on the game. And, once the timer expires, whoever has the most amount of money wins.
And then there's also one way that having all the hotels and little houses can actually backfire on you.
Yeah, when you get that wonderful chance card, pay street repairs, and then you realize you have 12 houses and 2 hotels. You are bankrupt, good sir or ma'am.
So that's probably one way to kind of teeter the, results to the other player.
Yeah, this would be so much fun to play on Twitch, though. Have Monopoly tournaments. So yeah, that's something we will be doing. Absolutely.
Do you have any recommendations on what board games or game shows we should play?
Clue.
Yeah.
Clue is fun as well. Clue's too easy to cheat because you got to ask everyone in the room to cover their eyes while you're looking at your cards, see what kind of cards you got in order to rule everyone else. But yeah, Clue's always fun. Clue's more fun as a board game, I think, than a...
I liked it as a slot machine.
I know.
Yeah, I won $400 off of that thing once.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'll be playing that. But yeah, anyone out there in 240p Club Facebook land, even Twitch or Twitter, feel free to make some suggestions, what games you want us to see on Twitch. We'll do our best. We have no guarantees we're going to beat a whole lot of these games, but...
I have a month off of school, so I got time to play something.
I don't, but I can still play sometimes at night.
I could pick up some of the streaming where you guys...
Yeah, we're waiting on...
I gotta configure my laptop.
Yeah, Ray, we'd love to see you stream.
We are never playing I Want to Be the Bossy, so just drop that train of thought immediately.
I'm still playing Barbie Supermodel. I'm going to be advocating for that.
We'll be inventing the Barbie Supermodel drinking game.
Let's do it.
Might actually have donations and stuff. Speaking of, before we go, that's another really good thing, actually, about Twitch. They have donations set up where people will play marathons of a lot of these games, and you could donate real-life money to them for a good cause. A lot of times, some people just flat out, honestly, hey, this is going towards beer funds. which is cool. You know, if you're honest about it, you know where the money's going. Hell, donate if you want to. You know. However, the ones that get the most attention are the ones for the good causes, like, you know, the helpful, like Children's Hospital, we're going to be playing 12 straight hours of games, etc., etc. Those are always fun, you know. I've been too poor to donate, unfortunately. I feel bad. I'm usually a charitable person, however, you know, money restrictions prevent me from sending a whole chunk of change to some of these causes, but we do support anyone that, you know, is streaming for a good cause, and be on the lookout because they plug the hell out of them on Twitch.
Sometimes even just a share or a or like a recommendation of what they're doing is enough.
Yes, just share everything. Like, you see someone like doing something for charity, donate, you know, or share the link. You know, spread the word. Hey, they're playing this game for, you know, this, you know, cause. Feel free to donate. One of the best parts about Twitch, I think. Anyway, from all of us at the 240p Club, we're going to end another edition. I'm Metallic Joe.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Ray.
Thank you for enjoying number 14. Hopefully we'll be seeing you for number 15 and not so long of a time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to us today. If you want more information on the 240p Club, you want to go to our website, 240pclub.com. Also, we have facebook.com/240p Club, and we're also on twitch.tv under 240p Club.